Hi there, I hope that you're all doing well. Welcome to your Health and Inequality class. My name is Maria Espinosa and I'm going to be your instructor. This is our first video lecture, which is not really a lecture. I'm going to be mostly talking just about the class logistic, what to expect from this class, what I'm expecting from you. This is what this first video post is about. Tomorrow afternoon, however, I'll be posting the first video lecture where I'll cover all the readings assigned for this week. So anyhow, what can I say about me? I'm a grad student in the sociology department. I study environmental health issues. I'm very interested in Zika and dengue, so if you guys ever want to talk about that, I'll be happy to. Well, I also wanted to take the opportunity to say that I'm very happy to see that many of you have been posting, have been replying to the first discussion thread. So please keep doing that. Anyhow, now I'm going to switch to the presentation and I'll just go over the syllabus. And if you have any questions after this presentation, please send me an email, use the chat tool on Sakai. You can also use the general discussion thread on Sakai. So any of those three ways of communicating with me will work. Okay, so anyhow, very excited to start this class, to be your instructor, and please let me know if you have any questions. Here's the presentation. Welcome to your Health and Inequality class. Today we're going to be talking about the class logistics. But before that, I just want to say that the best way to contact me is by email. And if you want an appointment, I'll be happy to have a Skype meeting with you. So just shoot me an email requesting this. When you send me an email, please include your name somewhere in the body of the email and add Sociology 335 in the subject line. In that way, your email doesn't get lost and I know that you're one of my students. In our society, disease and wellness are typically understood as either accidents or fate or the outcomes of good or bad choices. In our taking for granted understanding, good health comes to people who make good choices like eating right, visiting the doctor, exercising, and bad health happens when people do not take responsibility for themselves. In this class, we will try to understand how this individualistic perspective limits our understanding of where health comes from. Much like the rest of the social world, health, it turns out, is determined by many forces that are neither random nor within our individual control. We will also look at the increasing importance of health as a public good in a society whose population is older and sicker than ever before. So this class is going to be divided into two parts. First, we are going to explore what it means to think about health in sociological terms. We're going to talk about basic concepts in medical sociology, such as fundamental cause theory, social construction of disease, medicalization and biomedicalization, and precautionary consumption, among others. Second, we will look at the ways in which the word of health in general has been transformed in the late 20th and 21st century in response to technological, scientific, political, and economic change. We will look at the current state of healthcare system in the US and we'll compare it to alternative systems. We will also discuss the emergence of global health as a field of knowledge and the controversies around it. In this class, I want to introduce you to key sociological concepts that will help you think critically about the following issues or controversies. The trustworthiness of the medical knowledge we rely on when confronted with the threat of illness, the unequal access to healthcare across class, race, and gender lines, the management of health risk, the organization of the healthcare system in the US and overseas, and the legacies of colonialism in health system and medical knowledge. More specifically, I hope to provide you with concrete examples of how social, political, and economic forces shape your own health and why you might consider taking a more active approach in shaping those conditions through both in activism and research. Our online class is going to have 4 important components. First, there are going to be lectures that I'm going to be posting every week on Monday and Thursday afternoon. The readings and the lectures and any material associated to these lectures are going to be available under the resources folder on Sakai. Then you're going to have to write 4 response memos, which are due on Sunday at 11:59 or on the week they are intended for, which are not summaries, but actually critical responses to the readings. I have posted guidelines on how to write these memos, so please make sure that you read them before you submit your first memo. Also for this, you have to write 4, so you can choose 1 week to skip, and there's not going to be a memo on the last week of classes. A third important component of this class is your participation in the online discussion forum. For each lecture, I will post a thread that invites you to consider a certain question related to the lecture and materials. Please make sure that you participate. I have also posted guidelines on how to participate in the forum. So please make sure that you read these guidelines. So, and finally, we're going to have a mid-class exam and a final paper. The exam will be posted on Sakai on August 2. This is a Thursday, and you will have 48 hours to complete the exam. Well, not to complete the exam, to submit the exam. You will have until 11:59 on August 4 to submit the exam via Sakai. The exam itself will only take you like 2 hours. I will give you more instructions on the exam as we get closer to the date. For the final paper, you should submit a short proposal, which is going to be due midway through the course, and meet with me to discuss it. I'm going to use the Sakai tool for signing up for a time to meet with me. This is going to be during the week of July 23, if I'm not wrong. Yes, and so we're going to, the proposals should be short. I'm going to give you guidelines on how to write the proposal next week. But I want you to look at the syllabus and look at the topics and start thinking about a subject that you think is interesting and you might like to do research on it and use it for this paper. The paper itself is due on August 14, which is the last week of classes. As I said before, I will give you guidelines on how to write this paper in the following weeks. Okay, so the grading for this class. So the memos are worth 25% of your class. The forum discussion is 20%. The final paper, pre-meeting, and the proposal together are going to be 10%. Your mid-class exam is 20%, and the final paper assignment is worth 25%. Another important thing to mention is that when you send me an email, as I said at the beginning of this presentation, please be sure to put sociology or not sociology, but you can also just write SOC 335 in the subject line and include your name, your full name somewhere in the body of your message. That's very important. I also want you to know that all assignments are due at 11:59 on the listed day. And late assignments will be penalized by a full letter grade for every 24 hours after the due date. So please keep this in mind. I also want you to know that the presentation of your work is very important. So your assignment should be submitted via Sakai as Microsoft Word files, and I want you to use 12-point Times New Roman for the font, 1-inch margins all around, and double spacing. Well, and the last thing that I wanted to say is that the syllabus that I send you or that I have posted on Sakai might change in the semester. But I will let you know ahead of time if that happens. And finally, this is a course schedule. So this week, we're going to be looking at the social determinants of health, and your first memo is due on Sunday. Next week, we're going to be talking about the construction of medical knowledge and about a concept that sociologists call medicalization. There's also a memo for that. The memo is going to be due on July 22nd, on Sunday, right? The third week, we're going to be talking about health disparities across ethnic and race lines. And then that week, there's not going to be a lecture on Thursday. That week, I want to meet with you all whenever it's more convenient for you. So there's not going to be a lecture for that week. I want you to work on your paper proposal and to talk to me about your paper proposal. Then on week 4, we're going to be talking about environmental health, epigenetics, and cultures of risk and the management of risk. And we're going to have our mid-class exam on August 2nd, right? And then on week 5, we're going to talk about the healthcare system in the US and around the globe. And we're going to talk about global health and colonial legacies in medical knowledge and healthcare systems. So this is the overview of our class. Again, if you have any questions, please send me an email or use the chat tool on Sakai.